The EU embassy in Harare is downplaying the standoff over Grace Mugabe's visa. Its head of delegation to Zimbabwe called it a slight hiccup that is unlikely to derail progress made in mending relations since 2010.
As a matter of fact, the invitation to President Mugabe to the summit was responding exactly to this purpose of continuing in this journey, aiming at what we both in principle want, which is the normalization of the relations.
However, analysts say there is a big difference between removal of sanctions and normalization of relations. They believe Mugabe's stance is an indication that the fallout is far from being resolved.
I think it's inconceivable to think that Mr. Mugabe is ever going to have normal relations with the EU or even with the Americans. I think that it's beyond him now. I think that they are already looking at probably a post-Mugabe Zimbabwe.
Public opinion here on the issue is divided.
Culturally, I think the president should feel comfortable to move with his wife, and it would be ridiculous for them to deny the vice chair of the organization to move with the entourage that he wants to move with.
The ones who have been invited should just go. That the ones who have the mandate to represent people there, not everyone can go.
I would urge African leaders to go to Brussels.
For Zimbabwe not going to that summit is good.
The standoff has threatened to overshadow the summit, which is meant to discuss security, investment and further cooperation between the EU and Africa. The EU ambassador to Zimbabwe says that President Robert Mugabe's absence will have no significant bearing on the summit. He says that it's full steam ahead. Preparatory meetings already taking place in Brussels, documentation being readied for the heads of state to get there later this week. 40 of the 48 heads of state will be in Brussels. Those that are not attending will be represented by their foreign affairs ministers. Farai Mwakutuya, CCTV, Harare, Zimbabwe.